back to Live With, brought to you by Yamamoto Nutrition. Visit yamamotonutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today's guest has been on the show quite a bit the last couple of weeks. We got him back because I got a great topic to talk about today. Gregg Valentino, welcome back to the show.
What's going on, my brother Dave?
Hey.
I was just taking my Geritol because, you know, I'm old.
With the has-beens, right? Isn't that the new TV show is going to be called The Has-Beens. It's going to star you, John Romano, myself, and Jimmy Pelechu.
Hey, Dave, I want to hold up something. I don't know if you can see this. This is from, can you guys see that at all?
Yeah. Yep.
It says Atlantic States. It was a natural Atlantic, well, this is Atlantic Coast. I have the Atlantic States too, but this is, that. By the way, that's Peter Neff, right? See, NPC. I used to run NPC shows. It became the Atlantic States. Here's another one. Look at my guest posers. Rick Valente, Tanya Knight, and Juan Marquez.
We were just talking about Juan Marquez. He was a freak.
Right. But you see this? This is all NPC. What people don't realize is that I was once an NPC, you know, promoter. I got out of there because of Carl Campagna, because he was no good. And then then Weinberger came over. He actually took my shows. Right.
Yeah. Carl was a tough guy to deal with. He was very, opinionated. I trained at his gym. He ran that gym like a, you had to be afraid to you almost wanted to take your shoes off when you came in the front door.
Oh yeah, he's really, and what people don't realize is he was like a karate expert. I don't know if you knew that, right? He was a martial arts expert.
I did.
And he used to threaten everybody too.
I knew him in his older age. He wasn't there. I don't think he was threatening anyone back then, but
he used to threaten me.
he was a tough guy? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was. He did, but it wasn't just that. But I mean, he was a thief. Like we would do shows, and he would say to me, he would get like a vig from me. You know what I mean? Like I had to give him a percentage of the door, which you're not supposed to do.
Oh,
and
really?
Then he would actually fucking tell me, "Oh, by the way, those rolls of duct tape, I need duct tape. Give me those rolls too." And, like seriously. He was a piece of shit.
Greg, today's topic, we're not going to talk about Louis Marco. We're not talking about any of that stuff. We're talking about steroid dealing. Because let's face it, you can't go into a pharmacy and buy what you want, although maybe back in the day you could to some degree, but not anymore. And guys obviously use anabolic steroids. We know that in bodybuilding and in other sports. And there's always the guy who provides them, okay? And you were one of those providers back in the day, very successful, I might add, for a while. And I wanted to give our listeners a flavor of what it was like to be a steroid dealer back in the 80s, 90s, because a lot of guys don't have any idea of what it was like, where you got the drugs from, how much you charged for them. How did this all go about? Start us back in the beginning. How did you first got into it?
Well, I first got into it because of those posters I just showed you. I was running shows and I owned a gym, right? I was running shows for the NPC and I owned a gym. And then I had a newborn son. And the gym was in a bad neighborhood. I mean, there was actually shootouts and murders in my parking lot. It had nothing to do with my members, but at night there were prostitutes. It was in Peekskill, New York.
Okay.
So I wound up closing the gym, and I stopped promoting shows for the NPC because I didn't like Carl Campagna. Steve Weinberger was just getting in there. He wasn't quite there yet. And so I actually didn't have an income for a little period of time. And my friend, who was into all kinds of dirty shit, he knew a guy from Florida who became my partner. Everybody knows, you know my partner Paul. But anyway, he was selling stuff, and because I used to run these shows, all right, and I knew everybody, like a lot of pro bodybuilders. I mean, Lee Haney stayed at my house, in 1987 and shit like that. There's pictures online. You can see my mother used to make him spaghetti and meatballs, and he used to say, "Sausage, I love Italian sausage." Because he
that's a good invitation.
Dude, I gotta tell you, Lee Haney is a great fucking guy. But he used to sleep with his eyes like half open. I don't know if he still does that.
What were you doing staring at him while he was sleeping?
Well, I would drive him. He would fall asleep in my car.
Oh.
And I thought he was dead one time. I thought, holy fuck, Lee Haney's dead in my car. I got to push him out on the side of the road or something. They're going to think I murdered him. But it was his eyes were half open. But anyway.
Maybe he didn't trust you.
What's that?
Maybe he just didn't trust you.
Dude, you should ask Lee Labrada. I was driving one time, and I had Lee Labrada, Jackie Paisley, and who was it? Was it I think it was Rick Valente. They were all in the car with me. No, it was Lee Labrada, yeah. And I'm talking, and I'm driving. It was a van. I rented a van, and I had a bunch of guys in it with me. And I'm talking, and I turn around like this to talk to Lee Labrada while I'm driving on a highway. And my friend Lenny has to jump and grab the steering wheel because I noticed Lee Labrada's eyes got really big. And I was actually going into the oncoming traffic lane. So, and Lee Labrada's wife was there too, the one who he's married to.
Robin,
his wife,
Robin.
I don't remember her name, but this is actually Dave. This is 2 weeks before the LA Mr. Olympia.
Wow.
1988.
So you got
these. Lee Labrada about that. He'll tell you he said you're the worst driver I've ever been in a car with. I made him shit his pants. Oh, Ron Love was in there too. Ron Love. I knew there was somebody else.
Did you tell him you only have one eye?
What's that?
Did you tell him you only have one eye?
I only have one good eye.
Yeah.
No, he didn't know. Dude, I turned my head totally like this while I was driving like this. And I went right into the oncoming traffic lane. But it was funny because I could have killed a couple of the guys from the Olympia lineup.
Yeah.
And, who knows. But anyway, so being that I knew all these pro bodybuilders, because I ran shows for the NPC, and I had a really popular gym with a lot of bodybuilders, okay, my friend said to me, dude, you should you know everybody, bro. He wasn't even a bodybuilder, this guy. And he goes, my friend sells steroids. I'll hook you up with him. Just give me a couple dollars on some of the stuff, and I'll even make sure he fronts you the shit. So I was like, holy shit. I had a newborn son. I was natural. I had a newborn son, and I was like, I need to make the money. So that's actually how I started. I started getting shit. And the first time I got a whole load of shit, and I made like $4,000 in like a day. And
wow.
I was like, dude, I was hooked right then and there. I was like, forget this. Forget fucking doing anything else. I made $4,000 in one day. You know what I mean?
What stuff would you get in? Would you get like sustenance? What were you selling back then?
Yeah, at first, I was exactly. The Russian sustenance was huge back then. So right. I got Russian sustenance, D-balls, and I forgot what the other thing was. It was something else. Hemogen. Okay, which is Anadrol.
Right.
And that shit went like this, like hotcakes. Boom. The Russian sustenance came in strips.
Right.
Like this. You just snap a strip off and then the cracked top,
Yeah, there was 10 in a strip. I remember that. And
right.
The Anadrols, the Hemogens, would sell for like $300 for $100. How much were you paying for those at the time?
I had really good sources. I was getting them for like $80, and I was selling them for like $300, bro. But you know what? They fucking worked. It's not like some of the shit you get today. All that shit. You took a Russian sustenance, and that shit hit you like a freight train. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even the Russian D-balls. And
And
then
so,
I dealt with our Polish friend. I'm not going to say his name, but I think you know his name. We all dealt with the same guy. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Okay. And then, look, my girlfriend's bringing out another poster. Look, Paul DeMeo, back in, when he was young. You know what I'm saying? He was one of my guest posers. But so I knew all these fucking guys. But anyway, I used to deal. They called him in jail Big Mike, but you know who he is. He's from Poland.
Yeah.
I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. He did time in jail and everything. And I used to deal with him. And when I first met him, he had a headlight duct taped onto his car. He was really poor, bro. He was bouncing in a nightclub in Queens, and eventually he wound up owning his own gym. But anyway, I used to get stuff from him. A lot of this shit though was suspect, but the best shit was metanabol, which was orange strip with like 20 fucking little yellow pills, and they were Polish D-balls. And holy shit, did that shit hit you? I fucking love that. And when I got raided by the cops, right, back in like 2000, they, and they arrested me. When I got home, that's the one fucking thing that they forgot. They left a strip of that shit, boy, and I was like popping that, that shit was.
Now, when did you start taking stuff? Because they always say don't get high on your own supply. You were a natural bodybuilder and you were selling juice. When did you say, hey, I'm going to try this stuff?
Well, what happened was, I actually was selling it for a couple years. I sold it. I started selling that shit in like 1990, 91, I think it was. And then in about 95, I started. So that's about almost 4 years. What happened was, I was a natural bodybuilder, and I was a really good bodybuilder. Bob Gruskin was my coach. I met him through Peter Neff.
Right.
You know who I'm talking about. A lot of people out there, they have no idea. But Bob Gruskin even helped Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, his history is amazing. But anyway, so what happened was I was starting to build a gym, okay, powerhouse gym. And, we had opened it. It was 95. And...
So wait, let me stop you for a second. Let me stop you. Yeah. From 91 to 95, how much money do you think you were making a year selling them?
Oh, God, I don't know. A lot. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you the number because I would make boatloads and my ex-wife would take it and, do shit with it, You know what I mean? Let's put it this way. A lot.
Did you pay for the whole gym cash when you built that gym?
No, we did use some cash, yes, but we didn't use it all. My friend actually used his money to invest. He brought me in because I knew what I was doing. I didn't have to lay out any scuttle.
Oh,
you know
that's
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yes, Dave, a lot of money, a lot of money. The ex-wife and the cops come in and taketh away, gone in 60 seconds. But that's another story in itself.
You had a 9-year run though, right?
Yeah, I had a really good run. I was an idiot though. I was so blatant about what I was doing. I owned a gym. I would put the shit on the counter and shit like that. You know what I mean? You'd have state troopers coming in there with uniforms on, and they take me in the back room, and I was giving them shots and shit. Fucking crazy. People were like, oh, shit, the trooper's here. And I'd be like, Dad, don't worry about it. He's coming for some fucking stera shit. But regardless, so what happened was, Dave, it's the classic story. I was selling guys shit and teaching, and training guys. I used to train guys because I owned the gym.
Yeah.
And I'd see these guys come in, and they were like Pee Wee Herman and shit. Yeah, I want to get jacked. I want to get healed, And I would get them on shit, and they'd fucking work out. And then 6 months later, they were walking around like Godzilla, you know what I mean? And they were bigger than me. And then they almost get cocky, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know the story.
Sure.
So I was like, fuck this shit. Look at these guys, man. You know what I mean? Like, I think I was 23 years natural. So I was like, I earned this shit. Fuck this. And the first thing I ever took was I took Dominican D-ball, which was Anabolex. Dude, we were getting 100 of them for like $1.50.
Wow.
100.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You know why? Because in the Dominican Republic, they give that shit out for like, if you had stomach flu or bad diarrhea, dysentery, they used to give that so anti-wasting.
Right.
And you know what's funny? They didn't know. Like, even girls would take that in the Dominican Republic. That's probably why they're hairy and shit. You know what I mean? It's the truth, bro. Dude, when they first came out with Anabol, like the first shit, they just had, like, it was a little jar like this with a little metal cap. And it was not even sealed or anything like that. You could have opened it. But why dump it out? You get it for $1. I mean, it would cost you more to buy aspirin and fill up that bottle than fucking, you know what I mean? So, and then when they started selling a lot of it and bodybuilders started catching on to it, drug dealers, they put it in a box. I don't know if you remember what anabolics looked like, but it was in a box with all these little rip outs. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that's the first thing I took. And I got to be honest with you, I felt like a part of me died because I had such pride. I was, natural bodybuilder. I only weighed about 165 pounds, but I was really lean and I was really built. I had a tiny waist, a whole bit, big legs. So then I started taking it, And once I'm an all or nothing guy, Dave. even when I train in the gym, I never go in. If I'm supposed to do 100 sets and I do 99, I feel like I'm a pussy and I didn't work out.
Right.
So so the minute I knew that I was taking that shit, I was like, well, I already robbed the bank now. I'm no longer natural. So I went bonsai, and I went from literally within a year's time, I went from 165 to 275.
Oh my
and at
God.
5'6".
Wow. Holy
I couldn't breathe, Dave. I couldn't even tie my shoe. I used to have my ex-wife tie my shoe. You know what I mean? Because it just wasn't. I was big, but it wasn't good big because I wasn't fat at all. But what I'm saying, it wasn't good on the heart. I could not breathe at that weight. It was terrible.
And you never competed when you were on gear, right?
No, I was already done. I didn't want to compete anymore. You know what it is? I was sick of the sport, and I was making more as a drug dealer and fucking gym owner than I would ever make on stage, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Not for nothing.
You didn't want to test it out though to see how you are? How you would do?
No, because then I would have. By the time I was that big, I would have to be a heavyweight, and at 5'6", I'd look like a box up there. You know what I mean? I was known. I had really good lines when I was light. I had really good lines. I could. I had that little mini fucking Steve Reeves build, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I could beat guys because of just my lines alone. I appeared bigger. In one show, they weighed me like 3 times because they could not believe I was a lightweight, Dave. I looked almost like a light heavyweight because I had big legs.
Right.
Peter Neff will tell you. He's the one who got me ready for that show.
Wow.
But when I got bigger, I just look like a fucking block. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but I wish we had pictures of you before you, like when you were on steroids, but before you blew your arms up.
Yeah, I do have some pictures. I have some pictures. I'll see if I can send some to you.
Yeah.
You know what it is, Dave? Back then, even Schwarzenegger, most of the footage that you can see of Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was young or in his prime was taken either by the pumping iron. Right. Those guys were pumping iron, or like Wayne Gallish,
right.
Who did the video. Other than that, nobody, you didn't take pictures.
Art Zella.
Right, Art Zella. He took photos, but I'm saying there weren't really a lot of, all the pictures of Schwarzenegger you've seen, unless somebody did a grab shot outside the gym or,
right.
Some Hollywood picture where he's walking down the street in sandals. I'm just saying, but there wasn't any video clips or him, you know what I mean? It was very, very rare. So even in the 90s, I'm sure when you first started.
Nothing. Yeah, there's nothing.
Right, there's nothing. Because today, kids got these fucking cameras, right. And they're taking, selfies of themselves every fucking day, and it's always the same thing. Themselves in the mirror holding a camera, and every chick, there's girls who got, 500,000 followers on Facebook, and they think that makes them a celebrity. It's only because guys are horny motherfuckers. They don't really even know the name. You know what I mean? Right? Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right. So, Greg, how did you wind up getting caught? What was the straw that finally? Because you kind of were. Everyone knew what you were doing, but yet everyone
right.
was in on the plan, so to speak. I mean, when I was getting stuff, it was coming not directly from you, but it was coming indirectly from you. So you were a big player. How did you finally get taken down?
The guys I was in with and getting it with were the guys who was giving it to you. That's how I actually found out your name and everything. They used to say to me, "Do you know Dave Palumbo from Long Island?" But anyway, what happened was, what happened was I graduated from getting shit from like Russian guys and Polish guys to getting shit from the doctor. You know what I mean? I'm not going to mention his name. I think you know who it is.
Yep.
He was a Dominican doctor.
Yep.
He actually ran a clinic for psychosis, like men who have impotency and psychotic problems from lack of testosterone. So he would buy boatloads of Steris testosterone. I used to get the boxes with 4 bricks in them, and it even said with a barcode, like testosterone sipping. But anyway, I would get those fucking things, and he would hook me up with certain guys to get it from, because he didn't want to deal directly, because he didn't want to get arrested. So he would hook you up with these fucking guys. I didn't even know who the fuck they were, but and then Big Ralphie, who's passed away, and there's a few other guys.
Yep.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I remember Ralph too.
One's a prep coach and stuff now. Well,
yep.
He was a prep coach. I haven't heard much from him.
No.
He used to train with Kai Green. You know what I'm talking about. Right? So we would get this stuff, And I was starting to move to Stera stuff, and I was getting it for dirt cheap, Dave, like $8 a bottle. You know what I'm saying?
I think I was paying 18. So.
Yes, dude, that was.
And that was still great.
Who wouldn't sign up for that?
Yeah, it was still a great price. Yeah.
Of course. That's because they would. I know who was giving it to, but he would tack on like $10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he was getting it for like $8 too. It was really dirt cheap, but he would get these boatloads of stuff. This doctor, and it was supposed to go to the Dominican Republic, but it never made it there. You know what I mean? So you know how that goes. You know, and then I would still deal with the Polish guy that we both know, and even a Russian guy that was very popular. Yeah. And from Brighton Beach, and stuff was. But I was starting to get a reputation, which is never good.
No.
And I was very cocky about it, because I had cops. A lot of cops are take juice even to this day. You know what I mean? And what happened was, Janine Pirro, who's now Judge Janine on Fox News, she was the district attorney at the time. And she got wind of it, and she set up a task force to watch me, And one of my guys got busted and didn't, obviously, I'm not 100% sure who it is. It's one of two guys.
Right.
But he got busted, and he did some undercover buys for me, and then the rest is history. They came in and arrested me, and they did a number on me, but I was getting all kinds of stuff. I was getting Ghana balls from the Dominicans. By the way, Dave, at one point, I don't even know if you know this, but in the pharmacies in Washington Heights, they were Dominican pharmacies, and they were bringing over Dominican stuff. So you could actually go in there if you had a Dominican guy with you.
Right.
And, I had a few Dominican guys,
Yeah, we know. We know who the Dominican guy is, yeah.
And the Dominican guy would go in there, and he would come out with a bag of shit. Literally, go in the pharmacy, because they wouldn't give it to me. They'd be afraid I'm just a fucking gringo and shit. Maybe I'm trying to set them up, or whatever. So they trusted other Dominicans, So they would go in, and the Dominicans would get this shit, and they would give it to, I would buy it from them and stuff. And
yeah.
So I had Ghana balls. I was arrested with that. I was arrested. I was arrested with some real parabolans too. I had real parabol. Matter of fact, one of the cops was into working out, and he was asking me, "Dude, where the fuck did you get real parabol?"
Yeah, because they were discontinued at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, when I got arraigned and fucking they didn't have that on the fucking list. So I don't know where that went.
The cops swiped it.
I also had a bottle of 1,000 Viagras, and back then they were $10 a pill. That's like 10 grand right there.
Right. Wow.
They never claimed that bottle.
Really?
So, yeah.
So what were you charged with? How much gear did they figure out street value wise?
They said $75,000.
Which is probably low by the real estimates, I'm sure.
Oh God, I mean probably like 15 grand. I don't know. They amp that shit up all the time. You know what I mean? They're always amping that shit up. I could send you.
It seems like that was a very small amount for what you were moving. You must have been low that day when they busted you.
Yeah. I was moving a lot more. Believe me, I had a lot of stuff on me. I'm talking about 75 grand was my. Was my. Pretty much my cost, 15 grand.
Gotcha.
They claimed 75 grand. That was probably the street value. The good thing is I never got. They were so stupid. I never got they wanted I never got into other drugs. You know what I mean?
Right.
I
Recreational.
did a teeny bit once or twice because it was there for me. You know what I mean? And I never touched it in my hands.
Right.
There were some times where I would get something, and I never even touched it. My friend had it. We'd hook him up with the guy who would buy it, and I made some scarol on that.
Yeah. Right.
But the crazy thing is, when I got arrested, I remember my partner had a little container like this, and he had breath mints in there, and they were on the fucking where the windowsill, and the sun beat down on them, right? So they were there for a long time, maybe a couple of years. He just left them there when we were building the place. So when they arrested me, they found that little box in there, like, what is this? Is it ecstasy? We're going to have this tested. And I said, because the mint smell wasn't there anymore. You know what I mean? The sun ruined them. And I said, they're fucking breath mints. Maybe you should take a couple. You're going to think, because there's no fucking... See, dude, I thought, you know why, Dave? I was around rats all the fucking time. I didn't know it. I gave everybody the benefit of the doubt. My partner used to tell me, he's a rat, don't talk. I'd be like, nah, he's a good guy. He's a rat. Nah, he's a good guy. So I'm thinking when I got arrested, right, I had friends that were arrested, and, they go down to the police, police arrest them, and then release them that day, ROR, on their own recognizance. Right. So I'm thinking, all right, they're going to fucking take all my shit. You know what I mean? Let them take it. I could always get more. And, they'll give me a little spank on the wrist, and I'll fucking get out of this shit. And then they kept me overnight in a jail, in the local jail, before they brought me to the county jail. And then when I went in there, when I went before the judge goes $250,000 bail. And I said, what? I said, it's steroids. You know what I mean? And he goes, if I were you, I wouldn't say another word, because I was freaking out. I'm thinking, dude, you're gonna for $250,000, you're gonna give me a bail of steroids? And then when I got in jail, they denied my bail. They wanted a source hearing. So now I'm in there with guys that are murderers and shit, and their bail's $50,000, and I'm over here, selling steroids. I mean, this is a long time ago. It's been like 19 years now. You know what I mean? It's a long time ago, but still, I'm sitting there freaking out, going, "Are you fucking kidding me?" But Dave, the '90s, that was. I mean, you could get whatever you want, and that shit was good stuff. I mean, it's not like this shit that you see floating around now. Like, I agree with Rich Piana. Or he used to say, like, test 600. There's no such thing. You know what I mean? These guys today, this shit, unless you're getting it from a legit source, I don't know, man. The stuff ain't the same as we knew it was legit. I mean, I got it in plastic fucking bricks.
Well, you had you had American pharmacy stuff. It was the most amazing stuff. Matter of fact, when you got arrested, and I tried to buy up every last bottle that was still on the street, because I knew that was it, the end of the golden era there. That was never going to happen again, because that stuff was legitimate. American-made stuff is the best stuff. So,
absolutely.
Test Sip. You had Test Sip, Test Nanthate, Test Propionate, HCG, 30 cc bottles of Test Suspension, and then you had those small bottles. They were 2 ml of Deca, which were a terrible buy, but it was strong as could be.
I used to get 10 cc's of Deca too.
Oh, really? I never saw those.
I had 10 cc Steris Deca, and then what else was there?
The HCG was great too.
The HCG was phenomenal. Yeah. It was really good stuff. It was really, really good stuff. And it's very hard to get that kind of shit now. You know what I mean?
You can't.
And we used to get it in the boxes with the barcode. I mean, it was fucking, right off the, came right off the truck.
Great. I would get like 500 bottles at a time, and the guy who got them for me, who I won't mention, said, "Oh, this is like a chip off the block." So you guys must have had thousands and thousands of bottles of those.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. We had a lot. Believe me.
Our friend in Brooklyn, I heard he had it stacked to the ceiling in his house.
Oh yeah. Yep. I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Now let me just ask you this. So back in the day, how would you communicate with people if you wanted to give them stuff and sell them stuff? You would cell phone them, right?
Yeah. I actually we used to use payphones a lot too. You know what I mean? This beepers, a lot of shit. The cell phones weren't really prevalent like they are now. I didn't even have a cell phone because I didn't want people calling me.
Right. So you'd beep someone, and then they'd have to call you back from a cell phone, basically.
Right. They would beep me, and I would call them back from a payphone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because you didn't want a paper trail. You didn't want anyone to know what was going on.
Right. Meanwhile, I'm an idiot throwing a shit on the desk at the gym.
No, but today, Greg, guys are selling it online, emailing each other, texting each other. there's a paper trail a mile long. How could you can't beat any charges if someone wants you. It's almost like ridiculous. No one would do that back in the 90s. Never.
Never, ever. You'd be an idiot. I tell guys today, I know guys that they buy shit off the fucking internet. I don't care. A longevity. Some of them are like, yeah, but it's a legitimate longevity clinic. I send them my... Dude, if you've never physically seen the doctor and you're getting it from you live in fucking bumfuck Idaho and you're dealing with some longevity clinic in Florida, wink, wink, wink. You know what I mean? You're an idiot, because eventually what happens is the cops, the feds, they're like lions sitting in the grass. They watch so many Cape buffalo run by until they get a little cocky and they start grazing, and that's when they come out of the grass and pounce on you. Just because you got a few boxes doesn't mean anything. Eventually you get that one box that doesn't make it to your house, and then you get a knock on the door and it's a fucking UPS guy or fucking, mailman, and you're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a federal offense. That could be drug trafficking because you're going across state lines. You're an idiot. That anybody that buys shit online is a fucking idiot, especially going to these longevity clinics. I don't believe in that shit. If you don't physically go there, you don't really have a case when shit,
Well, you're talking about moving a lot of stuff. I know a lot of guys have stuff sent from other countries. China, it's got to go through customs. I mean, and it's going to your home address most of the time. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was friends with Rodney St. Cloud. Remember when all that shit hit?
Yeah.
He got it in his girlfriend's name, you know what I mean, from China and all that. And I think he lost his job on a fire department because of it.
Yeah.
You can't, guys, if you're out there, man, you can't buy that shit online. It's just not fucking good. I mean, it's really not good. I mean, it's in every gym. And if you go with a big fucking fish jar, that's how guys, listen, that's how these guys make money today. A lot of them, you know what I mean? I'm not saying all, but a lot of them do, because what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, they need to make money. Most bodybuilders are lazy fucks. They don't want to work a regular job, and they think that I'm going to be a pro bodybuilder, like that, that's the be all end all, and it's not,
Yeah. Final question, Greg. Final question. Are the guys today not as good quality wise because the gear isn't as good, or is it because they don't train as hard, or a combination?
I think it's a combination of all of that, and I think that now that they're fucking with all this insulin shit and all these other things, the DNP to get you cut, like you always say, Dave, the number that it takes for you to get cut with DMP and the number it takes for you to kill you, the dosage is so close. You know what I mean? It's like if you eat 3 meatballs, you're okay. If you eat the 4th meatball, you're dead. You know what I mean? Right?
You're right.
I mean, think about it. So that's, you got a combination of that. Plus, you know what, Dave? I honestly believe it's also the mega eating today. These guys eat so much food, and and then they got to eat all these carbs because you're taking in all this insulin. So therefore, you stretch the stomach as well. People don't really. It's not just organ growth. It's also you're making your gut, because you got to eat all this food to compensate for what you're taking. Right. Right.
That's what I think. I don't think it's organ growth at all, because if it was organ growth, after guys stopped, their stomachs wouldn't come back to normal. My midsection looks normal now, and I had a very big midsection when I was 300 and something pounds. So I believe you. And I had to eat an extraordinary amount of food because I had such a fast metabolism. I think it stretched out all the fascia that surrounded my abdominal area, and almost like when a pregnant woman, after she gives birth, she's got that loose abdomen.
Right. But Dave, think about it though, right? In order for you to be 300 pounds, you can't eat like a bird.
No, I couldn't sustain my weight. I had to eat 12 times a day.
Dave, Arnold Schwarzenegger is 6'2". He competed at only like 224. Everybody thinks he was like 250. He was not. He was like 224, 222, believe it or not, on competition day. He would be 10 pounds off the 212 class.
You're right.
You know, and what I'm saying is that, has the human being evolved? No, it's because these guys today, even the guys who are 212, who are I'm 5'6", some of these guys are 5'2", 5'3", but in the off season, they're 250, 260. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just too big, and that stretches out the gut, the feed bag.
Right.
It grows. I honestly believe. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that all that GH, when you're shooting it directly into the gut, and then you're fucking taking insulin. But now guys take a lot more carbs than they did. Guys weren't eating the carbs. And remember the 80s, even though it was a higher carb era, high carb, low fat, a lot of guys dieted like that. I did too. But you didn't take in the massive amounts of shit that these guys are taking today.
No, I agree. Well, Gregg, thanks for enlightening us on what it was like to be a drug dealer back in the 90s. It was the golden era. I do miss it. I got to tell you, I'm sure we could tell a lot more stories. Maybe we'll do some follow-up stuff with a couple of our other friends who were involved in that industry as well. Thanks for giving us all the feedback and the great stories, and we're going to have to get you back. And like I said, we're planning a new TV show on RXMuscle, original TV programming. Gregg Valentino, John Romano, myself, and Jimmy the Bull Pellecchia. We're trying to field names. A couple people said have made some suggestions. I actually think the Usual Suspects might be the best name I could think of.
Yeah, or Grumpy Old Men. Remember Grumpy Old Men. You know
there you go.
Give Jimmy a bowl of fucking drink, and none of us will get even a chance to talk.
No.
He'll get out there, Jesus Christ, fuck, play the guitar, the piano, maybe start crying a little bit. I love Jimmy.
Whenever I get all you guys together, I always leave the show with a massive headache. I don't know why, but it always tends to be good TV. All right.
I hear you.
That's going to take us to the end of another episode of Live With, brought to you by Yamamoto Nutrition. Visit yamamotonutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next time.